या रेप कर दिया। रेप वाली बात तो आई नहीं उनके दिमाग में, कहीं भी नहीं आई, ना कहीं भी हुआ है। नहीं, एनआईए की रिपोर्ट ये थी और शासन की रिपोर्ट ये थी कि करवाने के लिए चाह रहा था, डेड बॉडी रखते जो भी।
Hello everyone, good evening. One death, 1,000 conspiracy theories. But before the political hue and cry, before passions were whipped into protests, what really happened in Hathras? What do the men who were the first on the crime scene have to say? News18 India's journalists went undercover to speak to the policemen who were the first responders to the gang rape and the subsequent midnight cremation. This is their version of the Hathras horror.
A young woman was brutally assaulted in Hathras, a crime that ultimately led to her death. But beyond that stark fact, every other detail appears questionable. The first revelation, the initial case was attempt to murder and atrocities against a lower caste victim. Listen to what Sub-Inspector Dinesh Verma told our undercover reporter. The second big revelation, that the only culprit named initially was Sandeep, the main accused. The other names were added later.
पहले तो जो लड़की का बयान वायरल हो रखा है, हमने सब जगह देखा, मोबाइलों पे भी आ रखा था। उसकी तो शुरुआत में वो एक लड़के का नाम ले लिया है,
संदीप का ही नाम ले रही, उसकी माँ भी यही कह रही है, संदीप ही था, संदीप ही था, संदीप ने किया, संदीप भी मार गया। माँ ने भी यही कहा, भाई ने भी यही दिया, सब सारे जो है पॉलिटिक्स हो गई ना।
ये चार कहाँ से आ गए?
चार तो पॉलिटिक्स आ गई, उसने बयान दे दिया, लेकिन समझा दिया, कहने पूरा 25-30 लाख रुपये मिल जाएगा।
The third big twist, that the victim's family was misled into believing they could get more compensation by alleging gang rape.
तो आप लोगों ने जो जांच की, आपके मुताबिक क्या लग रहा है, केस कैसा है?
मुझे तो गैंग रेप फाल्स है और लग नहीं रहा रियल है फाल्स।
अच्छा,
रियलिटी है तो वो 3-7 की हरकत, इसके अलावा और कुछ है नहीं।
मतलब
जो प्रथम FIR हुई है
ST/SC और 3/7
SC/ST।
अच्छा, SC/ST एक्ट का मुकदमा है 3/7।
इसके अलावा तो कुछ है।
Our reporters asked Dinesh Verma if it was possible that the medical reports had been manipulated.
मेडिकल रिपोर्ट
मेडिकल हुआ कुछ नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है।
14 तारीख को जो हुआ मेडिकल,
हाँ 14 को तो टोटो का वो रेप वाली बात कही नहीं, इंटरनल पार्ट नहीं कराया जा सकता, उसकी बगैर मर्जी के। जब उसने 22 को बयान दिया तो इंटरनल पार्ट में कराया गया, फ्लैट बनी, उसका सब कुछ नेगेटिव आया।
So the fourth big revelation from the policeman who first handled the Hathras case. There was no rape. The rape charges were added 1 week after the first complaint on the 14th of September. But why was the administration in such a hurry to cremate the victim's body? After all, if the body had been preserved, later forensic examinations would have settled many questions.
रात को ऐसी भी आफत पड़ गई थी, रात को ही
रात वाला मैटर तो मैं चला आया, वो हम नहीं उसके बारे में बता सकते,
लेकिन जो आपको आप सीधे जैसे बातचीत करते हैं पता लगता है।
नहीं, एनआईए की रिपोर्ट ये थी और शासन की रिपोर्ट ये थी कि करवाने के लिए चाह रहा था, डेड बॉडी रखते योगी जी को
And that's revelation number 5. Locals planned protests to try and force the chief minister to come to the village. And in an effort to prevent this, the 19-year-old's body was taken away from her family and given a hasty cremation.
something that the UP administration hasn't been able to live down. Let us quickly have a recap of what exactly it is that the first responders are saying. This is Dinesh Verma. He was the SO of the police station. He's now been suspended. What has he said? He says the initial case was on September 14th. It was of attempt to murder and SC/ST atrocities. It did not mention rape. There is an explanation for that. We'll come to that later. He's also saying that gang rape charges were added after a week on September 22nd. So there was a delay in adding the gang rape charges. Was this an afterthought? The main accused, Sandeep, is the only culprit. 3 others have been named only later. So essentially what this police official is also saying, and mind you, he's been suspended for his role in the entire Hathras horror. He's saying that Sandeep is the only one who's been accused. The 3 others are actually innocent. He's also putting aspersions on what the family's motives could be. He's saying that the family was misled by many people into thinking that they could get a compensation of 25 to 30 lakh rupees if they essentially changed the situation on the ground, if they had agreed to tell the truth. There's a hasty cremation. Why was that done? That's another question that is being asked. According to this police official, it was done to avoid a protest that was aimed at forcing the chief minister's visit. Let me go straight across to Prashu Mishra, who is joining us from Lucknow. We also have our reporter on the ground, Arif Khan, who is joining us from Hathras. Pranshu, I'm going to come to you first. Why don't you talk to us about Dinesh Verma, who he is, who's the person that we've seen in the sting operation, what are his antecedents, should we believe what he's saying, should we not believe what he's saying?
He is the suspended sub-inspector. So he's among those people who have been suspended on the basis of SIT's preliminary report. Question is, why did SIT suspend him? They suspended him, then all of these people, including the SP, Deputy SP Inspector, and even Mr. Verma and others, from prima facie for lacking in duty, not responding to the calls at the earliest. Now, coming to how reliable his statement or this can be, see, he is narrating his side of the story. People who have been suspended, or the local Thana in this case, has been saying from day one that they are not at fault. They have been issuing a particular viewpoint. The family on its part has been saying that on day one, that is on 14th of September, when they had gone to police station, their FIR, the rape FIR, was not registered. Police was not ready to register the rape FIR. The same argument Mr. Verma is saying, the family actually didn't mention or didn't insist for filing the rape FIR. Family, on the other hand, has been contradicting this statement from day one, saying that they wanted the rape FIR, but the police, the Thana, didn't register the FIR in the rape, but under the attempt to murder. Then the family had also been saying that after this social pressure started mounting, politics on this issue started happening, politicians started visiting the place, the pressure mounted, and finally on 22nd, the FIR was registered. Again, this the statement of the sub-inspector comes under the question. The third important point is that in past, in several rape cases, we have seen that family demanded the chief minister to come there, and often the administration has to work out the situation very delicately. Now, in a democratic setup, the other side can often ask that in a democracy, is it illegal to demand a chief minister to come to a scene of crime if such some crime has happened? Now, another important point, which I think legally can go against the government or the police, is that when the cops are saying that it was only on 22nd the FIR was registered, one can assume that the samples from the girl's body would have been taken at the later stage.
Correct.
So if rape happened on 14th and sample is taken beyond 22nd September, is the possibility of rape evidences on the girl's body, can they be diluted? This is also a big question.
That is a big question, and that is a question that is being asked from day one, that how is the UP police so confidently saying this is not gang rape when the samples were tested 8 days after after the rape happened, the alleged gang rape happened. Let me go across to our reporter who's on the ground. Arif Khan is reporting to us from Hathras. Arif, एक बात बताइए कि एक बात जो ये दिनेश वर्मा बोल रहे हैं, ये सस्पेंडेड एसओ हैं उस जगह के, वो कह रहे हैं कि परिवार को ऐसा लगा अगर वो रेप के चार्जेस लगाएं, अगर वो झूठ बोलें, तो उनको 25 से 30 लाख रुपए का कॉम्पनसेशन मिलेगा। इस बात पे क्या फैमिली ने किसी तरह का रिएक्शन दिया? क्योंकि ये पहली बार नहीं है कि ये एलिगेशन आ रहा है। ये बहुत लोग हाथरस में, खासकर कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लोग और पुलिस के लोग बार बार ये कहना चाह रहे हैं और ये समझाना चाह रहे हैं सबको कि ये भाई ऑनर किलिंग है, ये गैंग रेप नहीं था। तो किसी तरह का रिएक्शन परिवार की तरफ से आया है?
देखिए, बिल्कुल जिस तरह से न्यूज़ 18 नेटवर्क ने एक बड़ा खुलासा किया है कि इस पूरे मामले की थ्योरी थोड़ी सी अलग हट के जा रही है। पहले कुछ दिन पहले थ्योरी इस पूरे इशू की अलग जा रही थी, अलग ट्रैक पर चल रही थी, लेकिन अब ये थ्योरी बदलती हुई दिखाई दे रही है, क्योंकि जिस हिसाब से पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां एक्टिव हुई, तमाम तरह से इस मुद्दे को हाइप किया गया। उसके बाद अब आप देखिए क्या क्या बहुत सारी चीज़ निकल के आ रही हैं। देखिए, साफ तौर पर पुलिस के जो खुलासा हुआ है, पुलिस कह रही है कि इस तरह से कोई गैंगरेप का मामला नहीं था। परिवार वाले भी बहुत ज़्यादा इस बात को लेकर पूछा कि आखिर ये चल क्या रहा है, कि ये बात सामने आ रही है गैंगरेप नहीं हुआ, तो वो साफ तौर पर इस मुद्दे पर बहुत ज़्यादा बात करने की स्थिति में नहीं है। किसी भी बात पर उनसे बात की जाती है कि कॉल रिकॉर्ड आपकी आई है, तमाम तरह की बातें सामने आ रही हैं, जो एक आरोपी है वो कहीं और था, ये सब इस तरह से आपने क्यों किया, तो वो सीधे तौर पर एक ही बात कहते हैं कि हमें न्याय चाहिए, हमें इंसाफ चाहिए। सिर्फ इसी बात पर अटक जाते हैं कि हमें न्याय चाहिए, इंसाफ चाहिए, इसके बाद वो कुछ भी नहीं बोलते। सीबीआई जांच से उनको दिक्कत है, नार्को टेस्ट से उनको दिक्कत है, तो उनको बहुत सारी चीज़ों से दिक्कत है। अब देखिए, सीबीआई जांच करेगी, एसआईटी की जांच चली रही है, तब जाके सब एक एक चीज़ साफ हो जाएगी, क्या उस लड़की के साथ गैंगरेप हुआ था या नहीं हुआ था। लेकिन जो सिम्टम्स दिख रहे हैं, जो हालात दिख रहे हैं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा सस्पेक्टेड है, बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसे इसमें इश्यूज हैं जिसको लेकर जिक्र नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं परिवार भी संदेह के दायरे में है। जी
Pranshu, is that what has happened in the last 48 hours? The UP government is very confident about something, which is why they want to hand over the probe to the CBI. All along, on record, they have been saying that this is not a case of gang rape. But then how do we explain the girl's dying statement? Would a person who's on her deathbed die about being raped? She has used the word jabardasti in that dying statement. And jabardasti in the Hindi heartland means one thing. It means rape.
Yeah, see, the benefit of doubt always remains with the victim.
Correct.
Having reported out of Uttar Pradesh, even you and me, we all know that often it happens that the girls don't muster enough courage to tell the exact brutality which has happened to them exactly on day one. So it often happens in many cases that you report later on. Now, in this particular case, the girl's family has continuously been saying that since 14th, we were trying to get the rape FIR registered. The local Thana was not registering it. Now it is the cops are saying that no, the family was actually not didn't give the rape charges on day one. The another point here, of course, is that if on 22nd the rape FIR is registered, rape if it has indeed happened on 14th, then possibility of it being determined in medical examination 9 days after the rape, that becomes dilute. The question here also is that UP police, which on one hand says it has nothing to hide, has recommended a CBI probe, is in Supreme Court saying that we are ready for a Supreme Court monitored probe. On the other hand, is coming out with all claims to virtually, state the fact that this was not a rape. Right from ADG Mr. Prashant Kumar going on record to say that it was not a case of rape, to the report from the Aligarh Medical University, which was actually an opinion on the forensic and report and the postmortem report, to the sort of statements and narratives which the government is trying to build. So even before CBI takes up the case, I think, and the Supreme Court decides the matter next week, I think the larger attempt is to create a general public atmosphere around this issue that no, this was not a rape, or even if it was a rape, there is a lot which the girl's family has been hiding.
And if the police was so convinced that this is not a gang rape, that nothing wrong has happened, if the girl and her family are lying, what explains that middle of the night cremation? After all, if we still had the body, there would be a chance to know who's lying and who's not. The Uttar Pradesh police and the administration have a lot of explaining to do. Thank you very much, Pranshu Mishra and Arif Khan, for joining us on that big piece of information we are putting for our viewers. Now we are shifting focus to the other big story today. After 29 days in jail, Riya Chakrabarti, accused number 1 in the Sushant Singh Rajput death case, has finally walked out of the Baikula jail. Riya Chakrabarti has walked out of jail today. in the drugs case, but her brother Shovik has been denied any reprieve. While granting bail to Riya, the Bombay High Court poked holes in the Narcotic Control Bureau's case against the actor, who has been accused of being an active member of a drug syndicate, quote-unquote the NCB. Now, the court has trashed the charges of financing the sale of drugs or harboring offenders, saying that the actress cannot be charged under Section 27A of the NDPS Act. The court further said that when Riya was produced before the court for her first remand, the investigating agency, which is the NCB, did not seek her custody. That means they are satisfied with her interrogation and that she has cooperated in that investigation. Let me go straight across to our guests who are joining us live on the story. I have AKashdeep with me for the moment. AKashdeep, I want to ask you this. Were you confident, as the hearing began, that Riya Chakrabarti would get bail, given the sort of claims that the NCB had made, calling her a drug trafficker, a kingpin, etc.?
No, to tell you the truth, initially when Riya's name came into the focus post the wrong allegations by Kangana about nepotism killing Sushant and wasting a month of the department's time where all the people were being called and time was being wasted. But after that, when Riya's name cropped up in abatement and in all those things that happened which were coming out in bits and pieces, so we did not know the larger picture, I thought that she definitely is one of the first persons who comes under the needle of suspicion. But obviously over time, the case that she was finally arrested and taken in for was only the drug case, and that is now subject to the charge sheet that the department files, and she has a right to appeal, and this could be a long drawn process. But today, by granting a bail, the court, I believe, has also clearly mentioned that there is no evidence to prove that she was a supplier. She may have phoned a few people and arranged drugs for her boyfriend.
AKashdeep, do you think this has been a witch hunt? Mr. AKashdeep, do you think this has been a witch hunt against Riya Chakrabarti? I'll ask you, I'll tell you why. The NCB has zero evidence, and today it has been proven, zero evidence to prove that she's this big drug lord. She's the kingpin of a big drug cartel. So they have no evidence.
Which we also agree with.
Which we agree with. She's not, right? B, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences is saying Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide. He died by suicide. This was not a murder.
True.
The CBI is also saying the same thing. Now, you accused her of murder. It's not a murder. You accused her of being this big drug kingpin. She is not a drug lord. तो ये चल क्या रहा है? पिछले 6 महीने से चल क्या रहा है फिर?
No,
if this is not a witch hunt, what is this?
It's a circus. It's a circus. It's not a witch hunt because nobody had a personal axe to grind with Riya. It all became part of the chorus because the mass emotion went to such frenzy that people wanted results in a day or 2 or 3, and the only one the needle was going on, Riya. Anybody who said, listen, give her a fair trial, was abused in media. Then there are some speakers who just come and they have this fixed ratta, fascism, Bollywood and drugs killed her, Dawood, underworld, disconnections, and they are linking the naming of 5 A-listers as people who probably are connected to the murder. It became such generic and nonsensical cacophony that at least now people should realize you asked for AIMS because you were not happy with Cooper. But because AIMS has not supplied a report that suits your judgment, you're going to question it. Furthermore, Vikas Singh ji, I understand his emotion, but he wants a new committee to look into
I want to say this on record as well.
Where will it end? Where will it end?
I want to say this on record. Yes, where will it end? And where will this circus end? And I want to say this on record. We all understand what Sushant Singh Rajput's family is going through. You have lost a young son, a young, successful, bright son at the age of 34. It is something very difficult to believe. And yes, he should get justice. But justice for Sushant doesn't mean injustice for Riya Chakrabarti. And that is what has happened in the last 6 months. Kuch bhi ho jaye. AIMS can say anything, what they want. Today, the courts have said what they want. Yet, Mr. Kothari, people are not willing to believe Riya's side of the story. Why is that? What else do we need? Today, the court has said what it has said. we have heard what the All India Institute of Medical Sciences has said. The CBI is speaking via sources and saying we agree with what the All India Institute of Medical Sciences has said, that Sushant died by suicide. Then why are we not ready to believe it? हर चीज पे शक क्यों कर रहे हैं हम लोग? Why are we not willing to believe that 28-year-old girl? उसने क्या बिगाड़ा है किसी का, मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा है.
Shreya, what is happening here is that since Sushant died unnaturally and the inquiry, which usually takes 10 days to complete, took about 60 days ad nauseum. And then, the Supreme Court had to give the case to CBI. And then the CBI came into the picture. Obviously, that raised a little bit of suspicion at that point in time. And what has happened here is that the Bombay High Court has given the bail totally on the applying the appropriate. I've read the entire 70 pages of that order. It's a beautiful order. And it is perfectly, legitimate to put them, all the stringent conditions that they've put.
Mr. Kothari, आप मुझे sequence of events दे रहे हैं पूरा. I'm asking you, when will the circus end? Why are we not ready to believe Riya Chakravarti?
Right. But what has she said? We are believing it that she's out on bail. As simple as that. So I don't think the trafficking expense will, thing will be made out unless now.
But we still want to believe she's a murderer.
Tomorrow.
But we still want to believe
that.
I'm not. Arey bhai,
I have not said that.
But we all still want to believe she's a murderer. We don't want to believe the AIMS report.
No, I have not said that. And let me tell you something. AIMS report, once again, Shreya, legally, a report, like any handwriting report, as I told you yesterday also, is a tool to an investigation. Let CBI come out with a particular charge sheet saying that this is plain suicide, case closed, or this is abetment to suicide, charge sheet filed under 306. And then let us see what Vikas Singh's family challenges it, accepts it, or what. Only then the case will receive its closure when the investigating agency comes out with this. हम लोग यहाँ पे कितनी भी उछल कूद कर ले, ये एक तरफा उछल कूद करे या दूसरे तरफा उछल कूद कर ले, उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. All I am trying to say is that investigating agency के हाथ में, आप उनको भी कितना पुश कर लीजिए, ED को भी कितना भी पुश कर लीजिए, वो stoic silence बना के बैठे हैं, उनके पास जब
ED has got nothing. ED has got nothing.
वो मुझे पता नहीं है तो आके बोलने दो.
70 crore rupees.
I don't understand. Do they love the Bombay climate so much कि बॉम्बे में आके मजा कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे?
Mr. Kothari,
बॉम्बे की क्लाइमेट में कोई मजा नहीं.
Mr. Kothari, सबसे पहले तो, none of the agencies speak on record. That's a problem. By the way, that's a big problem. Because, half media channels will report one thing, and on the same report, half media channels will report the other thing. यानी audience को तो full confuse कर दो और बेवकूफ बना दो. But here's the thing. Agencies don't speak on record, they speak off record. Off record, they are very clear. They have found, ED, as far as ED is concerned, they have found 70 crore rupees worth of transactions from Sushant's account in the last 5 years or so. उसमें से 70 crores में थे 55 lakh, 55 lakh rupees have been spent on Riya Chakravarti in travel and gifts, etc. So, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो कोई 15 crore रुपए लेके भाग गई हो, है ना? वो थ्योरी भी फ्लैट हो गई. वो थ्योरी भी फ्लैट हो गई.
मैं अभी एक ईडी को लेटर लिख रहा हूँ कि श्रेया ध्यानदयाल सीआरएन की बोल रही है कि आपके पास 55 लाख है, कैसे आप बंद कर दो, आप चले जाइए.
अरे भाई, मैं रोज सुबह 4 अखबार पढ़ती हूँ. Mr. Kothari, every morning I read 4 newspapers.
I agree.
And newspapers have been doing much better reporting than television reporters have been. Yes.
I'm doing a lighter vein में बात कर रहा हूँ.
हाँ, नहीं, मैं भी lighter vein
with you.
अच्छा.
I'm not at all taunting you. I will never do that.
But I'm saying that ED का केस फट,
Swapnil.
ED का केस फट, NCB का केस फट, CBI भी बोल रही है कि मर्डर नहीं है. अरे उसको क्यों फंसा रखा है? Yes, Mr. AKashdeep.
बोलने दो. But ED का केस ही नहीं है.
I want to ask my friend Swapnil. I want to ask you. Okay, Swapnil, my dear friend, I want to ask you a question. Swapnil, I need to ask you a question. Swapnil, 2 महीनों से, from 2 months, AIMS is at it. Everybody had questions on Uber, including us. That was a shoddy job. We were very happy that AIMS came in. Now, everybody is going on like a stuck record saying, wo basera itna hi hai, suka hai, this mark, that leg, that. Agreed, brothers. See, AIMS knew all that. They took that on the table and came to do their work. And if after that you're not happy with their findings, you're raising a hue and cry, you knew all these deficiencies, you should have stopped AIMS then. Were you waiting for a favorable report?
Okay.
Then this committee would have been good.
Okay.
Then Gupta would have been good. Then you would have been happy. People have decided on an end and they're writing backwards. That's not the way a script is written. You don't think of an end and then write backwards.
I have 10 seconds, Mr. Kothari. respond in
Just
10 seconds. Yeah.
10 seconds. Akash, what happens is that the AIMS has come out with a report. As a family lawyer, I've got all the rights to challenge it. And now if you say कि AIMS को पहले देना ही नहीं चाहिए था, वो हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, वो CBI के हाथ में है. The family cannot do anything, boss.
But
It's
in
a
any
very clear-cut indication.
Shilpa.
In any event, the family has a right to say, and if you don't want to challenge it, then
any
don't
case,
challenge
the
it. If you
CBI
want to
is not
challenge
going
it,
for a
It's
second.
now become a long shot. It's
Yeah.
a very long shot.
So, but the point is, let me tell you that the CBI is saying
And
that they are
CBI
not
shouldn't.
going for a second forensic test. They have
I
already
agree
made
with
it
them.
very
They
clear.
shouldn't. They shouldn't. You have other evidences. Go
Let
by
me
them
get
with
in,
those evidences.
bhai, let me
No,
get
no,
in,
no.
Shilpa. Let me get in.
Negative, then what do you do?
Let me get. All right. Okay. Okay, you know, I've lost Shilpa Ratnam because she thought that I won't let her speak since the two of you was arguing with each other. I have 20 seconds to wind up, 10 seconds to AKashdeep, 10 seconds to AKashdeep and 10 seconds to Mr. Kothari. When will the circus end, Mr. AKashdeep? When will we say?
Shreya, if you ask me, it's no more an aerated drink. The fizz is out. Now it could be a long drawn battle. It's up to the CBI. If they want to bring in 302 in their charge sheet, they will need a lot of evidence to support that. Now I feel it's gone into a long shot. People will take time to understand and lump it because there have been panelists who have been screaming and teaching us everything. They seem to have cracked the case better than CBI, ED and AIMS. But that's not how it works.
Correct, correct. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Kothari. You joined us a little late today, but thank you very much for joining us. AKashdeep, thank you very much for joining us as well. With that, it's a wrap from me. Maria Shakil is joining you next with Epicenter. Do stay with us.